He fingers his scarf nervously, faster and faster, like he's trying to start a fire, and then slowly begins to calm down once the panic attack finishes running its course. I'm going to find some place to hide, a safe haven, and then knock the lights out for myself so I don't even have to experience the horrible day. I have the perfect thing for that. I must prepare now. Don't go to the festival. Okay. Later, dude. The door slowly closes with a low creak, and I don't know how I feel about Kenji just said. I have no idea what I said. After buying a plastic plate of whatever that is from a stall belonging to a class next to ours, I take a seat in the school gardens and watch people pass as I tentatively nibble away at the rather bland tasting item. I guess I shouldn't complain. It's better than nothing and doesn't cost much. As I look out towards the school, watching the people coming and going proves a surprisingly entertaining way of passing the time as I eat. Little children, accompanied by parents and grandparents, scramble in the din from event to event, one digging into company, the other bearing an oversized colourful snack. Can't help but notice the age range among the people here is scrawled towards the elderly, something that I'd also noticed when I was walking around town. This must be one of those towns where the only people left are those that lived here for their whole lives and advertently refused to leave. Those wanting to leave out the rest of the days in one of the increasingly few tranquil places. I guess that also goes a way to explain how conservative Yamako's school culture seems to be. Not that I mind one bit, I kind of like how calm Yamaka and its surroundings are. The heat, though, is another matter entirely. Sitting in one place for so long has focused my mind on how annoyingly humid it's getting now that the hotter part of the day is here. Better get off. Sound of the Carillion bells takes me completely by surprise as I stand up, a reaction shared by a few other people strolling around as well. The PA system cracks to life after the trolling bells end. Its age shows as the principal makes a barely intelligible announcement over it, officially opening the festival that's very much in full swing. It's quite amusing to contrast the pleasant smiles of elder folk against the alternatively pinned and boring grimaces of younger charges. The students, on the other hand, seem to pay it little heed. Nevertheless, as the address finally ends, all the united in polite, if not overly enthusiastic applause, and then get back to business. Slipping a hand in my pocket to look as relaxed as possible, I casually glance around for something to do. Somewhat difficult to see very far with all the people around. I decide to fall back on a tired and trusted rule. Go anywhere, go where everyone else seems to be gathering. Right now, that's the school courtyard and surroundings. Throwing the used plate in the trash, I make my way towards the school building. Seeing the number of stalls around the perimeter of the school building surprises me. Quite a few of the classes must have opted to have multiple stalls. In deciding which to use first, I catch sight of a familiar banner with a blue pattern border and red text. Lily's stall is a good place to start as any. I'm curious as to how it's going, after all of the work she and her class have done going into it. Does it say Coca-Cola on the top? I can't tell, but it looks like it does. Stepping up to it, I begin to see why the class took so long to organize everything. Easily twice as wide as any of the other stalls, and with equipment for cooking sprawn everywhere, it's closer to an outdoor restaurant than a festival event. As the students in front of me takes a bowl of noodles and leaves, I walk up to the counter. The girl behind it seems quite exasperated and asks me to wait for a moment before she disappears beneath the counter. Seizing the moment, I take a quick glance around. Steam seems to be rising from everywhere as pots and pans simmer away. The most of the blind students are unpacking ingredients, while helped by someone who is probably a teacher of 3-2. It doesn't take long to notice Lily among them, talking with the teacher as she quickly counts out the boxes and packets with her fingers. From her expression and fact that both she and the teacher seem to be quite in a state of mild confusion, it appears that there's been some problem in coordination. Before I can stare any longer, the girl behind the counter pops up again, only to look back and ask where the spare change box is. Lily pauses for a moment before she and the girl switch places at the counter, and the teacher quickly walks off somewhere. Sorry about that, we're having a few problems. What would you like? Takes me a second to remember what I came here for. My eyes quickly dart to the side to read the menu sitting on the counter. There, I got some miso soup. Oh, is that miso? Yep. Looks like you're pretty busy. Her face all but confirms as it drops her waitress facade. Somewhere along the line, our order got mixed up. We're trying to fix it now, but it looks like we've only got half of what we needed. Wouldn't serving smaller portions cover the problem? It seems like that's what we'll have to do, though I wish we didn't. The fact that a good half of our class is gone doesn't help either. I glance behind her to see how many are eventually operating the stalls. It couldn't be about 8. I take it that's why your teacher left. That's right, she's going to try and round up a few more of the classmates to help. Hearing the sound of footsteps behind me, I stealthily glance backwards to see an elderly couple taking a place in the line. I guess I'd better stop loitering around and chatting. Here's the money for the soup. Soup? Oh right, coming right up. Lily turns and calls out a bowl of miso soup, so I hand over the money for it. Taking the coins in her palm, I can't help but notice how efficiently she counts them, and out with a long, pale dainty fingers, eventually satisfied that I've handed over the correct change, she puts it in her small metal tray. It isn't long before the soup is made and carefully handed to her, after which she turns and subsequently passes it to me. Thanks, I came back to drop off the bowl. Wait, what? Thanks, I'll come back to drop off the bowl. Thank you, Misao. Oh, this is one other thing. Have you seen Hanako? Hanako? No, not today. Why? She gives a small sigh of abject disappointment. It's okay, I was just wondering what she was doing for the festival. You'll come back when you're done then. Sure, I'll keep an eye out for Hanako too. Thank you, Misao. I walk off from the stalls and find a seat, carefully cradling the steaming wooden bowl in both hands. Compared to the dumplings from before, this is quite nice. A little cool compared to what it probably should be, perhaps, but the flavor is enough to cover for that reasonably well. As I drink, I can't help but feel somewhat guilty for not being as involved in the festival as others. I can't really be helped, considering I was dropped into the school only a week ago, but it still weighs heavily on my mind. And the fact that a few students didn't really seem to be enjoying the festival as much as the visitors. Evidently, I finish my bowl and leave for the stall to drop it off. Considering that there seems to be no line at all, I take my time walking up. Seems the teacher's mission paid off, and there are now over a dozen students helping, and much of the unpacking has been done. Despite most of them seeming quite relaxed as they work, Lily still appears to be somewhat stressed. Lily doesn't look impressed at all, and I can't really blame her. On the top of her issues with her stall, she seems to be worried about Hanako. I can't really help her with the former, so I guess the only way I could help is by trying to take her mind off our shy mutual friend. Placing the bowl behind on the counter, I call out to Lily. Hey Lily, don't worry about Hanako, I'll go find her and hang out with her, okay? I can see Lily's relief painfully written across her face. Painful. Thanks, Isao, and if you see anyone from my class, can you tell them to come back here, please? Will do, have a good one, and make sure to take a break, okay? I will if I can. See you later, Isao. I leave Lily in the stall and head in search of Hanako. In a way, I feel bad for leaving her with the crowds, but even though she was clearly under pressure, I can't help but think that she is enjoying herself. The halls are packed with swaying crowds wandering throughout the festival. If there's one thing I know about Hanako, is that she's not going to be anywhere near this, and with the students showing their friends and families their dorms, I doubt she'll be there either. Following blind intuition, I move against the grain of the crowd. Thankfully, this crowd seems to be slightly less festive than your usual festival crowd. I assume this is out of consideration for the student body. As I force my way through the masses, it doesn't take long for them to thin down to nothingness.